Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is so refreshing to see so many smiling faces today. So I'm here to do the welcome. I am Teresa Hazard. I am the SHIP and the SMP coordinator for TARCOG. I've been with TARCOG, this is my 11th year, and I love what I do. And so today, my hope is that we give information that is beneficial to everybody in the room, that you take something back with you that is going to be helpful to you and also to those that you know and love. One of the most important things that we have is our identity, and we want to do everything we can to protect it. So on behalf of myself, the TARCOG staff, our director, Michelle Gilliam Jordan, and our director of aging, Sheila DeSole-Ivy, welcome, and we hope that you will enjoy yourself today and that you take away some very much needed information. And so now I will introduce our moderator, MC for today. Heidi Stennett is a native of Limestone County, where she lives with her husband and their 3 children. As the director of Limestone County Council on Aging, she is committed to providing support and services to the elderly community. Heidi also serves on the Make a Way board and is an active member of Athens Limestone County Chamber of Commerce, Project HEAP, and Foundation for Aging. Her passion for serving others drives her efforts to make a positive impact in the lives of those around her. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Teresa and TARCOG, for asking me to assist with this very important summit today here at Athens, Limestone County. Please help me welcome Ronnie Marks. Sorry, this was in my notes, and I just received a text that he's unable to be here today. He does send his regrets, as well as the Limestone County Commission Chairman, Colin Daly. They both wanted to be here today, and they would like to bring you greetings as well. At this time, we're going to move into our panel discussion on fraud and scams in our area, protecting what matters most related to our financial security. We have 6 esteemed panelists with us today. I'm going to introduce you to each one of them, and they will give you a brief presentation before we get to your questions. Many of you have already written down a question for today, but please, as each one of our panelists are talking, if you have a question for them specifically, write them on a note card on the table, and I'll ask for those cards during our question and answer part of our discussion. So you should see those cards on your table in front of you. Raise your hand if you do not have a card, and we'll need one. Okay. All right, so first let me introduce you to Brooke Battle Burns. Some of you may know her since she works as the Vice President at First National Bank at downtown Athens location. She has more than 18 years in the banking industry. She brings a deep understanding of financial operations, risk management, and customer trust. Brooke and her husband Al have been married more than 20 years and have 2 children, Olivia and Cal. She balances professional drive with a love for family time at the ball field, basketball court, and traveling. Her church family is the most important part of her life, grounding her in faith, community values that guide her personal and professional journey. Help me welcome Brooke to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. Like Heidi said, my name is Brooke Burns, and I work at First National Bank. And as you can imagine, at the bank, we see a lot of fraud. We see all kinds of different ways that people try to take your money. They try to play on you emotionally. They try to scare you, and they try to get you to do things quickly. A lot of the scams that we see are the online dating and romance scams. People calling you, acting like they're from Microsoft or a computer company trying to get into your computer and get your passwords and things. But one of the things I want to share with you today that affected one of our coworkers personally is the grandparent scheme. So one of the ladies that we work with, her father received a phone call one morning, and with artificial intelligence today, as I'm sure some will talk more in detail about today, they had a recording, and it sounded just like their grandson. And he is in school in Alabama, and he was 19 at the time. And the grandfather answered the phone, and he immediately started, so it sounded like the grandson, immediately started saying, "Hey, I need your help, but please do not tell my mom." Like it was, sounded just like him. He was begging him, "Please do not tell my mom." And he said, "I was out late last night. I went to a party. I had been drinking, and this morning I have hit a lady, and she's expecting, and I'm being arrested, and she's hurt. They think the baby's hurt, and I need you to send me money immediately." And there's so many people, we've had, people that would do that so quickly. And I'm here to tell you, because they do play on your emotions, because any grandparent in here, what are they going to do? They're going to protect their grandchild immediately, right? And, but what we want you all to know is to take a step back. Because no matter if someone is hurt, if the situation was real, no matter if someone was hurt, if they did get arrested, nobody needs money immediately, right? The hospital is going to treat whoever is injured in that accident. The police department, we hope that doesn't happen. They're not going to need money immediately. So take a moment, get your emotions. That's one thing they try to play on, is those emotions. And reel yourself in and take a moment and honestly say, "Hey, I'm going to call you back in a few minutes." Whether that is, as a grandparent, calling the parent to help, get them to help you, or to take a moment and then call your grandchild back or call your family member back to verify. A lot of times people will, and I know this is something that would be maybe a little bit harder to do, they will have a code word that they set up with their whole family. And that person knows, like, "Hey, what's your code word?" And if that person on the other end of the line doesn't know it, then you know that this is a scam. So those are one of the things, like I said, there's many, and I know a lot of people will talk, but that is something that affected us directly at the bank. And we were able to find out, obviously, that was not true, and they did not lose any money. But today, when you're finished, just something that we have out here at our table, Tanya is here with me today. We kind of have a list of things that you can do on an everyday basis, and every year and every 5 years. It's kind of like a checklist. Things that you should just go through personally to try to keep yourself safe and try to keep yourself reminded of things to do in case something ever happens. And then also we have a list of what to do right away if you happen to fall for one of these scams. And it kind of gives you, your mind is racing and you don't know exactly what to do. It's just a checklist that you could just keep in your records or something like that to help you get through a situation that we hope that never happens, but if it does, it's there kind of as a safekeeping for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. That was wonderful information. And a reminder, go visit the First National Bank table out in the hallway and pick up those forms that she mentioned. And if you think that you have been scammed, reach out to your bank as well, especially with your financial, with your money as well. So thank you, Brooke, for all that information. Next, let's hear from Cherie Lane Griffin.
I am Cherie Lane Griffin. I am the Director of Accredited Business Services for the Better Business Bureau of North Alabama. And the BBB of North Alabama actually supports Marketplace Trust, but however, we all know that scams are something that will help to cause distrust in the marketplace. So, Scam Tracker is a tool that we have that will help people to be able to understand more about scams, be able to look for scams and report scams. With this information, You can go to bbb.org/scam tracker and look for things such as things that you might believe would be a scam, something that you may have had a phone call, a text message or email or something like that. Last year alone, Scam Tracker helped prevent $43 million of money being taken from consumers. While most believe that there's only a financial loss associated with scams, there's actually more that's lost with scams. There is time, personal information, mental health, credit, and future earnings. The 10 riskiest scams are investment scams and crypto, which is the #1 effective for 65-year-olds plus, employment, romance/friendship, online purchase, home improvement, fishing, advanced fee loans, travel/timeshare, government grants, and tech support. Contact methods generally include online, via phone, and social media. 18% of people who have been scammed more than once. Finally, the signs that you should look for. If it's too good to be true, you're persuaded to do it quickly, they tell you not to tell others, they change from the original platform in which you were talking to them. So that means if you were talking to them online and they try to get you to leave a site or an app, those are things that you should look for. If they'd like for you to pay via gift card, prepaid card, or something of that sort, no real business is actually done through prepaid cards of any sort. And finally, unsolicited messages. These can happen via text message, these can happen via email, phone calls. So anytime someone is reaching out to you and you did not originally reach out to them, it's highly likely to be a scam. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherie. That was very important information. Next up, we're going to hear from someone most everyone in this room knows, and that is our Limestone County Sheriff, Josh McLaughlin. Josh has been married to his wife, Megan, for 19 years, and they are proud parents to 3 sons, Ryder, Houston, and Coulter. As a family, they enjoy spending time outdoors, camping, fishing, and hiking, as well as relaxing together at home with games and movies. The family are active members of Lindsay Lane Baptist Church, where Josh and Megan teach 5th grade Sunday school. With more than 24 years of law enforcement experience, Josh has honored to serve Limestone County Sheriff since September 1st, 2021. He is deeply committed to public service and takes pride in the opportunity to serve and give back to the community he calls home. Please help me welcome Sheriff McLaughlin.
Good morning. So I'm going to get as much as I can into my allotted time, but before we leave, I want y'all to know, I know you're all part of some kind of a group, either one of the centers or a church. If y'all want me to come and speak to y'all, reach out to Lori or Heidi or your church, have them reach out, and I can come and talk much more in depth about the things we're glad to do that, and I want to do that because I'm very thankful for this summit. There's a lot that goes on, and it's hard to get it all in and get the message out. So I'm going to touch base on a couple of things. You don't remember anything I say when we leave here today, remember these 3 things, okay? No law enforcement agency is going to call you on the phone and threaten to put you in jail if you don't pay them money right. So if you receive a phone call from somebody from my office, we'll say in quotation marks, or any other agency and they're threatening to do so, hang up the phone immediately. Don't let them keep you on the phone. They're going to try their best. And call the sheriff's office or come to the sheriff's office, okay? They'll try to keep you on the phone. They'll let you go all the way to the sheriff's office and then threaten to put you in jail if you come inside and have you leave out. So, other thing is some of it's going to echo what some of these folks are going to talk about or already have, is no legit business is going to want to be paid in gift cards, all right? Our local businesses, some of the big chains are doing a really good job at questioning people when they come in and buy 3, 4 gift cards at a time. And they're not doing that to be nosy, they're trying to protect you, and we're thankful for that because they have stopped a lot of people from being scammed. And the other one is, they're not going to have you withdraw money and put it in a Bitcoin machine at a gas station. So let's keep those in mind when you leave here. Couple scams that we have going on, just to touch base with them, are the law enforcement scam. They call you, tell you you missed jury duty. One, we don't put people in jail for missing jury duty. If you don't want to be there, we don't want you on the jury panel. That's the bottom line. But we're thankful for those who do show up, because we couldn't do those things without them. Two, there's a lot of text messages. Probably many of you got in here say you missed a traffic ticket. It appears to come from ALDOT or one of the other law enforcement agencies. We're not soliciting money. No law enforcement agency is doing that. Do not click on the link. They're going to have you put in information that's either going to allow them to get into your bank account, or they're going to have you transfer money to them. That's not legit. Nobody does that. FedEx and UPS. If you order a package, they're not going to send you a message telling you that they're unable to deliver your package and you have to pay more money to get your package. You've already paid for your package, and most of those businesses don't have access, FedEx, UPS, to whoever their phone number is. So those are scams. There's not a legit one out there. There's so many to think about. The other big one, and Brooke did a good job talking about it, is the loved one scam. They do have tons of technology. You will swear up and down that your loved one on the other end of that phone. Like she said, hang up the phone, call them back, but call them on the number that you have for them. Don't call them on the number that you received the phone call on. That's a big one, especially from banks also, is they'll call you from a number and say, well, yeah, just call me back on this number. Don't do that. Hang up, get on Google, get a phone book if those exist anymore. Find out a legit number, or call us and find out. All of our investigators, all of our deputies stay up to date on the scams, and we'll look into it if we're not familiar with it and let you know whether it's something you need to be worried about or not. But they do play on the emotions of your loved one. Anything from a wreck to I'm in jail, and like Brooke said, you're going to get a phone call. They're probably going to need bond money if they get arrested, but hang up the phone, look up the sheriff's office or the local agency where they're at, call them and find out if they're in jail if you can't get in touch with them. Some other ones. There's so many, y'all. And I mean, I could come out and talk to y'all for 30, 45 minutes, an hour, answer any questions y'all have. And some of y'all probably have to go, what about this scam? You can write them on the card, but I would be more than glad to come out to any of y'all's groups, wherever you meet, and talk to y'all about these scams. So, 3 things to remember. Remember, law enforcement's not going to threaten to put you in jail if you don't pay. No one's going to charge you gift cards or have you pay in gift cards. And they're definitely going to have you withdraw money and put it in a Bitcoin machine. So, thank y'all for your time, and I'll be around after this too if y'all have more questions on those things outside of this.
Thank you, Sheriff. That was very important information. I'm sure some of y'all in this room have received phone calls or know someone who has been involved in those types of scams. Let's move right along. I know I see some pens working, so write down your questions. We'll gather those here shortly, and then we'll do a little Q&A. Next up, it looks like we have Tom Phelps. He has practiced with Legal Services Alabama for more than 5 years, and his practice primarily is devoted to representing low-income clients in matters involving evictions and foreclosure, consumer defense of public benefits. Prior to joining the legal service team, Tom's practice focused on general civil litigation with emphasis on defense of individuals and insurers in matter of involving personal injury, wrongful death, trucking, and construction. Tom earned a doctorate from Cumberland School of Law and was admitted to practice law in Alabama in 2006. Please help welcome Tom Phelps to the podium.
Good morning. Good morning. Now that the sheriff has let the secret out about jury duty, I want to thank each of you who has been on a jury or who may be called. Thank you for your service and participation in our justice system. It's vitally important. Our program, Legal Services Alabama, is the largest nonprofit provider of free civil legal representation across the state. Specifically here in the North Alabama counties, or the Tennessee Valley counties, counties, we partner with TARCOG to provide, aside from the other areas of practice that Heidi mentioned, we provide free elder representation. So that can be things like wills, powers of attorney, or other civil matters that affect the elder community or their family members. So please keep us in mind as those situations pop up. With me, I have one of our staff attorneys, Kyle Anderson. Kyle will be participating in the panel discussion with us later. He works very closely with TARCOG, serving our elder community, probably has met some of you. Often what we see when it comes to scams and fraud in our community is that by the time clients get to us, it's too late. And what I mean by that is they have fallen victim to a scam, and they are now coming to us figuring out a way to undo it. And unfortunately, what I will tell you is the civil justice system does not have a lot of great answers for some of these scams. So instead, the lesson or the takeaway today is that you need to be aggressive about avoiding falling victim to the scam in the first place. And that's what I hope we can bring to you and share with you today. I was asked to talk about a scam or two that affected my area of practice, and we've had several. We see often, anytime there's a disaster like a storm, a flood, you have the contractors come into the neighborhoods, go house to house, selling their services. Very often, we find that those contractors are unlicensed, that they don't complete the repairs, that they're asking for down payments up front, don't do the work or don't do the work adequately, and unfortunately people then come to us on the back end and ask us to try to help fix that. And the only remedy, if you can locate the person or the company, is to sue for money damages and chase a judgment that you might even not be able to collect. But one really concerning fraud scheme that impacted my family personally is one that I thought of today. We were at the beach about 2 years ago with it was my family and my in-laws. My father-in-law's about 80, likes to get on the computer and read about sports. I haven't asked her, I'm sure a wager or two is probably involved. And one day he was particularly kind of addled and concerned, upset, kept sort of disappearing in the bedroom and was on the phone. We couldn't figure out what was going on. And finally we realized that a scammer had remotely taken control of his computer. And so what had happened was he got an email or a call saying your computer's been compromised, you need to download some security software so we can get you back up and running. He purchased whatever the services were that were advertised, and instead what this person was doing was remotely taking control of the computer and then saying, if you want access to your bank account passwords that we now have, and your investment passwords and logins that we now have, everything else related to your household and your finances, you need to pay us more. So finally, when I began to sort of investigate what was going on, I learned that this same company had already been prosecuted in the state of Texas in, I believe it was 2019 or 20. Ken Paxton's office, he's the Attorney General of Texas, had already put several of these entities out of business. All they had done is just repackaged their services and instead were pursuing the same scheme in Alabama. And so I say that to say this affects us all. And I'm so happy that you're here today. I hope that you will learn something that you can share with friends or family that may help others avoid falling victim to these types of scams and frauds. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Kyle, for being here with him. The legal part of that you were speaking of, especially the businesses that come out and said they're gonna do work and have an individual charged up front, pay up front, and never show back up. I have received calls of that recently. So I know that is a scam that's going on here within Limestone County. Next up, we have Miss Carla Sims. Carla has been certified in State Health Insurance Program, also known as SHIP, Senior Medicare Patrol, and Senior RX Coordinator with Limestone County Council on Aging since 2017. Her position consists of assisting seniors with Medicare insurance, helping them gain access to their costly medication, and educate, identify, and report fraud. During her time in this position, she has helped the senior population of Limestone County save almost $2 million a year. That's in medication and insurance costs. Her goal is to make sure every senior in Limestone County is aware that these services are available to them. So everyone, please help me welcome Carla to the podium.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
I
morning.
really don't need a microphone with that clear up there anyway. One of the scams that they have not mentioned, has anybody gotten the one that you owe for your toll? You went through a toll and then paid for it? What about your peach pass? You know, Georgia, you have a peach pass, they say you didn't pay your peach pass and they're gonna send you a ticket, you have to pay it online. So those are some. But I'd like to thank TARCOG for bringing this to Limestone County this year. It's such a great program and we've learned all about things that everybody is affected by. This morning, we were talking on the panel that we were sitting there getting scam texts while we were sitting there talking about scams. Just want to let you know that the Council on Aging is committed to helping you with these things where we can. We're gonna point you in the right direction. We have people come in on a daily basis almost saying, I got this in the mail. Can you tell me if it's legit or not? You get stuff in the mail all the time. It looks official, but it's not. And like the sheriff said, Medicare is not gonna call you on the phone and ask you for your Medicare number. Be very vigilant in checking your statements, keeping up with all of that. And I'm not gonna take up much more of your time. I just wanna let you know that we are committed to assisting you. Stop by our office anytime with questions. Give us a call. We'll help you or we'll point you in the right direction. I hope you guys get a lot of useful information today and enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Great job as always. I don't know about y'all, but this was some thought-provoking information. And I know there's a few questions out there. So at this time, if you will raise your card up, someone will walk around and pick those up. Bring them up here. Is there anyone else whose card has not been picked up? Okay, we've got one in the back. Anyone else? All right, so the first question I have here is from Ms. Carla Sims, Is the $1,200 Medicare supplement card legitimate? There's a lot of ads on TVs about this. Okay, might be for Teresa.
Okay, we've never heard of it.
Never heard of that.
I would say it's probably not legitimate. If you got it in the mail, they're probably wanting you to sign up with a certain plan.
So something like that that you see on TV, a lot of times they want you to call the number. And then when you call the number, they're gonna make empty promises. And they tell you $1,200, and it may be $200. Once you sign up, you can't go back. So if you sign up for that $1,200, you are locked into whatever you signed up for the next year, unless you fall under certain circumstances. But we don't know what those circumstances are until you do it, and then when you call us, a lot of times we cannot go back and change it. So I would say be very careful. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And before you make that phone call, I would recommend that you either call caller or myself.
Thank you. All right, the next question I have is, what insurance should a contractor have? This is for Mr. Tom Phelps.
I could go on all morning about types of insurance, but generally, contractors should have a standard commercial general liability or CGL policy. Depending on the size of the company, they should also have workers' compensation insurance. I typically tell people you don't have to get down into the weeds in terms of what is in their policy. This is not normally for home repairs. It's not like commercial construction. However, you should at least ask to see their license and make sure that they are licensed in the community, that they're in good standing with the local business community or local chamber of commerce. Also, don't forget Google reviews can often lead you in the right direction, because people like to post feedback about local companies.
Thank you, Tom. Next, we do have a few more questions for the legal services. We'll just stay right here. Will legal services come to the Limestone County COA's office? And if so, how do they schedule an appointment with y'all?
Yes, and morning everyone, I'm Kyle. We will, right now, we're trying to schedule folks to come in and execute documents at the Council on Aging office. To schedule an appointment, I can actually just give you my direct number, so you can call me. If you've got a legal question that could be answered over the phone, or maybe with some research, you may not need to actually meet me in person, because it could be several weeks before I come out. So, I suppose if anyone wants to write down my number, it is 256-427-4580. And in regards to this panel, you could also, anytime if someone's calling you, if someone says they're your kid and they need money or something like that, you can call me, and if I pick up, I can give you an opinion as to whether or not it's a scam, sort of a sanity check. So I'm happy to do that if you get a hold of me. Otherwise, I communicate with the Senate, and they can tell you when I've got a day scheduled to come in, they can tell you when that is, and if I've got slots open for that. Although we're not doing a waiting list, we have folks just reach out to us directly, either to TARCOG and their paralegal directed to me, or to me directly at the number I've just given you.
Kyle, is there a charge for that?
No, it's completely free. And there's no income limit to our services. However, we're prioritizing estate planning. There's a big backlog of estate planning cases, basically. So may not end up representing you in court, although other legal services attorneys might. But for that, you'd have to qualify by income. I've got another question.
Sure, go ahead.
So this question is just, it says wills, trusts, other ways to protect assets for kids. It depends on what you mean by protecting assets. If what you mean is having a clear way of devising the asset to your children when you pass away, then certainly both wills and trusts are a good way to do that. Some folks do life estate deeds. That's a deed where you have a life estate to the property so you can live in it, but when you pass away, it goes to your kids or the other beneficiaries, or the other people on the deed who have what's called the right of survivorship. Trusts are a good way to do it. They can be kind of complicated and expensive depending on what kind of assets you have. But the bigger your estate, particularly if you have assets in other states, trusts are a very good way to do that. And then if you mean protecting assets from scammers, I mean, having a trust that is overseen by a trustee who is not you is one way to do that. If you mean protecting assets from predators, there's a lot of different ways to do that, but it can be kind of complicated. I wouldn't be able to.
It was I should have put it, tax implications, and, a burden to our kids.
Okay. By burden, do you mean a lot of people?
Heavily levied with taxes and legal fees and things of that nature, because I've been involved with some families where they're tied up in court because it wasn't done properly, so I don't want it. I love attorneys, but I don't want all the money to be tied up in legal fees and they don't have $2 afterwards.
Yeah, if you mean specifically when probating an estate?
Yes, that's it.
Yes,
Probate.
that's
Sorry.
common. Okay. I think in that way, you either, and they can do it, if you've got a will that's well written, a lot of the costs in probate come from probate litigation where there either was no will or there was a problem with the will, and someone's got a lot of assets and a lot of kids, and one kid says, hey, they weren't in their right mind when they did that will, we gotta get back to this one. So generally, if you've got a clear will and you've got, let's say, 2 children that you're passing property down to, probate is pretty straightforward for them, and the costs are not too high. You can do it through a trust, but you pay on the front end because you've got to transfer all your assets to the trust, and you've got to get an attorney to create the trust. They're a bit more complicated. For taxes, I mean, there's no way to avoid paying property taxes if they're owed. Of course, for many of you, there are probably some homestead exemptions that you can do to reduce your tax burden. But if you pass away and there are a lot of creditors, including the state, for taxes, then they will probably get their money one way or the other unless you have planned far ahead of time and have some kind of setup with trusts, probably an irrevocable trust, meaning you can't take property back out of it. Let me think.
I would just add that the situations you're describing are so fact specific. We could tie up the rest of your morning answering those questions, but you certainly need to make sure any attorney that you select, you're comfortable with them, you provide them all of the information that you can on the front end. Yes, there are issues that pop up, but the vast majority of cases with good estate planning, those risks are more or less mitigated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Kyle. And again, if you would like to receive their services, it is free. They do come to our office, which is local off Jefferson Street. You'll just need to call and make that appointment. So after we're finished here and we go to break, you can receive more of their information. Okay? Thank you. Brooke, would you like to take the next question?
Sure. This question is, what do you do if some family members are a part of the scam for money? So first I'm going to say I'm sorry, but unfortunately this is something that we see. We see this often, more and more every day. A lot of times it's with a grandchild possibly or something like that. But first I would say is, for yourself, is you have to understand that you're not doing anything wrong, okay? Because they will play on your emotions and they know that you want to help them out. But a lot of times people that are doing this will take advantage of you further than what you're, needing to do for them. Second of all, I would say I would go to your bank. go to your banker. Make sure your accounts are safeguarded. Make sure that they don't have access as far as being a signer on your account, having access on online. Do not give family members your online sign-on. Do not give them your debit card to run to the store for something, just if you needed, dish detergent or something like that, and you gave them their card. Unfortunately, we see this a lot. You give them something that you trust them to do, and then they take advantage of you. If they are a part of a larger scam, that, anytime somebody's taking your money, obviously that's illegal, but if they're part of a larger scam, you would definitely, and I know this would be hard because you wouldn't want to do this, but you're going to need to reach out to, to the police department to see, how that's going to play out, file a report. But that is something, unfortunately, that we see. They do play on your emotions, and that is hard. And you have to decide how you want to proceed with that. I would talk to someone in your family that you do trust, and like I said, your bank, to make sure that as many safeguards are in place as possible.
Thank you, Brooke. All right, I think we have a few questions that the sheriff's going to cover.
Dude, I'm gonna step up here. I feel like I'm in timeout back here. So I have two of my questions that I have. They're kind of one and the same, so I'm gonna address them first. It says, what about firefighter and law enforcement calls asking for donations? And the question very similar to is, are sheriff's associations really doing fundraising? If so, does it really go local? So I've been a recipient of that call for many years. I've been in law enforcement for over 23 years now. I've been the sheriff for 4 years. I'm not gonna say that they don't. I'm going to tell you that I've never received a check from any of these organizations to come back local. So I would encourage you that if you feel led to make a contribution to your firefighters or your sheriff's office or local police department, do it directly. You can walk into any of those offices. You can send it in the mail if you choose to do so, and just put down this as a donation. I do know a lot of volunteer fire departments. Those guys are working. I'm very thankful for the service and what they do, but they do work full-time jobs. So they can't get out and do fundraising for their fire department, so they'll have people a lot of times come around door to door. I would also say, this is just my opinion, is if you do feel led to make that contribution, do it directly to the fire hall, because a lot of these organizations that are doing these things, if they're not fraud, they're keeping a high percentage of the money that you are donating to it. So they may keep 30-40% of what they're collecting, and if they are legit, the other part goes to where you want it to go. So I hope that answered that question. The next one says calls from people in jail. I'm not sure what we're asking here. If you're the one that did it, I'd be glad to answer it if you'll just tell me what the question is with it. Yes, ma'am.
I've just gotten a couple of different times calls from people, and it says hold on, and then it says call from, and it'll give somebody's name, and they're
Like a collect call?
Yeah, like a collect call. I always hang up, but how do they get your number?
It could be they're in jail 24/7. They may be sitting there just dialing numbers. It could be a fraudulent call. It could be a misdialed number. I would, if you receive one of those calls and you don't know who that is on the other line, or you're not expecting it, do exactly what you do. Just hang up the phone. If you continue to receive those calls, like when you call from the sheriff's office, say you've received a call from the Limestone County Jail, if you want to be taken off or have your number blocked, we have that ability to go in and put your number in there so that someone cannot contact you. And most law enforcement agencies these days have that technology. So you can reach out directly to that site and say, hey, I keep getting a call. We have that every now and then. Someone will be calling someone's number over and over again. We'll go in and we'll block the number so they can no longer reach out. So does that help?
Yes.
All right. The next one is how to stop calls and texts for fraud. The easiest thing you can do, there's not a great way. The technology and the way they get around things, and they can just mass put input in and dial numbers over and over again. All of your phones have a report junk feature. If you get one, you can report it. A lot of times the phone companies, after they receive so many that this is a spam or this is a fraudulent call, they'll block that number. The problem is they just roll over to a new number. But you can do that. I know Verizon and some of the other ones have it set up to where you can't receive a phone call from a number that's not in your phone. You can do it that way. The only thing is, if you have friends and stuff, you want to make sure you have all their numbers saved in your phone before you do so, because otherwise it just goes to a dead, like a busy tone when someone tries to dial it if they're not there. And then, of course, you can go online. You can sign into a portal. I'd have to find it where you can get onto the no-call list. That tends to stop some of it, but again, with technology, they're really good at rolling numbers through and getting off that and getting around it. So I encourage you, my chief deputy answers every single phone call that comes to his personal phone. 90% of them are scam calls or spam calls. If you answer that phone number that you don't know, it logs it in their computer system that that's an active number, that somebody's on the other end of that number and they're answering it. I do not on my personal phone. My work phone I do, but my personal phone, and I get very little scam calls. If it's something that's important, that person will leave you a voicemail and you can turn around and call them right back. And I know it's hard sometimes to ignore a phone call, but the more you answer those calls and it's a spam call or a solicitor or something like that on the other end, they have systems and they sell all that information. Hey, if you call this number, someone's gonna answer on that end and you're gonna get more and more of them. So, the last question I have, it says, what must one do when you are involved in a car scam locating over $18,000 and you have contacted the sheriff and or the police department to no avail? One, you need to call me, okay? If you're in Limestone County and you're not getting any response, call me. Now, there's a couple of things that can happen a lot of times, and I don't know the details of this particular incident, but you have a criminal side and you have a civil side. And we have to balance that line, because I can only do things, my officers can only do things with the criminal side. A lot of times people get into things and they do get ripped off, but it's a civil side, it's a contractual agreement or something along those lines. We use the district attorney's office a lot to tell us, hey, do we have enough to move forward with a fraud or a theft on this, or is this civil? And you may be directed to talk to an attorney and those things. But whoever it is that's in here, if you will call my office, I will get back in touch with you. Is it you?
Yeah, I did that.
I will come talk to you as soon as we're done, but we will, and I'll go back to the office, I'll sit down and look at whatever's going on. Was it with my office or the PD?
No, it was with your office,
Okay.
and I got a phone call from someone who identified himself as yourself and threatened to lock me up if I come down.
I will tell you all a quick story, so two things. One, yeah, but I want to talk to you before I leave, so I'm giving you. We have an app. I've got Nick and Blake sitting out front. They can help you download the app. That app is great for a lot of things, but particularly what we're talking about here. When we do have these constant frauds that come in, we try to post, and that post will come straight to your phone as a notification, and we'll let you know when these things are kicking up. We can't do it for every single one, because every single one I'd be posting every day. You ignore my messages that come in. But there's also links on there that'll take you straight to the FBI's scam page where they keep things updated with the most common things that are going on and the new things, so you can read through and see what some of those scams are. So if you don't have the app, download it. You can go out here. Nick and Blake will be more than glad to help you get it downloaded. And I don't forgot what the other thing was. So, but yes, please get with me on that end, because we would definitely, I'd like to pull it up and see what's going on with it. Oh, I was going to tell you, I actually got a call. I don't know if you don't know what number spoofing is, but they can make it look like it's coming from First National Bank or the sheriff's office. But I was sitting at my desk, my phone rang with the sheriff's office number. It says jail because it saved in my phone. I answered it, and it was an investigator. Or no, it was Sheriff McLaughlin on the other line. He was calling to let me know that I had a warrant because I did not report for jury duty. And I really started chuckling. And he's very professional. He said, sir, I don't understand what you think so funny. And I said, well, it's funny is because I am Sheriff Joshua McLaughlin. He immediately hung up the phone. But that's what they will do. So I would always encourage you, even if it appears to be coming from a legit number that you know, hang the phone up and call the real number back, because they don't have the ability to pick up my phone call if it's dialed to the jail. That would be my dispatchers and stuff. So, but yeah, that just happened about 6 months ago.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. Great information. Be sure to check their table. Nick and Blake will help you set up that app on your phone if you need help with that, okay? Next up, we have Ms. Sheree. She's got a few questions she's going to cover.
And the first one is it a good idea to have an identity shield app like Aurora installed on your phone or on your device. So it's not that they're not good. They are very helpful. I personally have identity theft protection. I have LifeLock and I have Credit Karma just, to monitor. So here's the thing. Although you might have all these things to safeguard you, if someone calls you, texts you, emails you, and you give them your information, none of that stuff really matters. It's for you to have that on your phone. I will say I purchased a vehicle about 2 years ago, and my free service, which is through Credit Karma, that service notified me within an hour, whereas LifeLock didn't tell me till the next day, and I paid for that annually. So I thought that was pretty funny. But really and truly, it's not that it's good or even bad to have those services. It's just as long as you make sure you're not sharing your information. That's the biggest thing. So the biggest takeaway from that is don't share your information. Next question is, does recycling pose dangers for scams? So anytime you put your personal information in a trash can, in a receptacle, anywhere, and it's not already pre-shredded, there is the possibility of somebody being able to get that information, put it together, make use of it. Is it likely? Highly unlikely that that happens. Generally, everything is done electronically now, so if you're afraid of your information being taken, it's going to be taken generally from some sort of electronic source, not through your trash. Is the website Title Lock that you pay to have home title security a good insurance to have? Most of the counties now have information or have a safeguard for you that allows you to reach out and place a lock on your home deeds and things like that, so you're notified if and when something happens with your property. So this type of service that's a paid service is not necessarily needed for you, because most of your counties will offer a service that will notify you when something happens with your property. That would be your local county office, like your courthouse or something like that. They'll be able to direct you to who you need to speak to about those land deeds. 3 major credit bureaus. Why do I get India and have to give all my personal information to this person before getting help regarding my credit, or another foreign country? Well, the U.S., like all other countries, charge, or they get labor that is the cheapest labor that they can find. And with that, you may have people from other countries that are answering the phone calls. Now, generally, if you're speaking to someone, you're generally not going to speak with someone through the credit bureau. So make sure if you're calling Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion, you need to make sure you're calling the right numbers, which you can call most of us on the panel, as well as you can call us at the BBB to get the correct phone numbers for those credit bureaus, so that you can reach out. But generally, you're not going to speak to a person when you call those entities.
I just want to add, so on the paper that I was talking about that we have up front, we have all 3 of the credit bureau's phone numbers listed on here. And so this, would be the number that you would want to call. So y'all feel free to pick one up on your way out.
Thank you, Sheree. Next up, we have Miss Carla Sands. She has a few questions.
Okay, one of them that really doesn't pertain to scams, but somebody asked if there was dental or vision insurance for someone who doesn't have insurance coverage. We only deal with people that have Medicare. Now, it may be that you don't have a drug plan, and we can help you find a drug plan, but you would need to reach out to a licensed agent that could assist you if you don't have any insurance and you're not old enough for Medicare. The next one, somebody just wanted to share another scam where people are calling, offering you a free tablet or telephone for your Medicare or Social Security information. Same thing, do not give any information over the phone. I'll tell you real quick, my mother got a call She knows not to answer the phone, but she did. They offered her a 3-night stay in Gatlinburg, but they needed her social security number to lock that in. She said, my daughter will be mad at me if I give you that. So just don't do it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone here. Any more questions before we end the Q&A? Raise your hand if you've learned something here today, a new scam or a way to prevent it. That's wonderful. I know I learned something new. The phone, if you don't answer, they won't call you. So, well, they won't be in your system. Yeah, knew that.
So, this is impromptu, but I just want to piggyback off of everything that they've said. If they call you and you answer the phone, that is a live number. They're going to keep calling until you answer. You're going to get frustrated. They may be calling with a 256 area code, and they may be in another country. So just be very, very careful. We've had, with the romance scam, I had someone to tell me about a month ago, she was scammed out of $1.2 million. Yes. Yes. We had someone in Madison County be scammed out of $450,000. Be very careful. The scammers are out there. They're not going to stop. I tell people when I go out and talk, the scammers are working while we sleep. And as the sheriff said, I was at work and got a call that I was going to be arrested. That I missed court, that they had delivered something to my house, and I told them, I said, let me check my camera, because I'm at work, and if somebody came on my porch, then my camera's going to show me that. They emailed me something saying that I missed court with my signature. It was not my signature, but I was so afraid, I was getting ready to turn myself in. Because I'm like, if there's a warrant, they are not coming to TARCOG to arrest me. That's not going to happen. And so my friend who's out in the lobby, I went and told her, I said, I'm going to turn myself in, come and get me out of jail. I don't know what I'm going to be arrested for, but they said there's a warrant. And when I got in my car, that's when it come to me. Call the number. And we called the number, it was a scam. So what they're banking on is you being nervous, like I was nervous. I've never broken the law, so I knew there was no warrant, but he made it seem like there was. So I'm prepared to turn myself in. I called the Alabama Security Commission, and what Nick told me, he said the address that was on there, if you had gone to that address, we don't know what would have happened. So I'm glad that when I got in the car, that I called the number, because it could have been somebody else waiting. I don't know what would have happened. So be very careful. Be very, very careful. I talk about scams all the time for a living, and if they can get me, they can get you.